Meeting come to order. First, I would like to apologize to anyone in the audience. Is it not, is it coming? Yes. Okay, good. First, I would like to let anyone in the audience know who had to wait here a long time that we had a number of important issues to discuss at executive session, and it ran a bit long. All right, the first thing on our agenda is the Pledge of Allegiance, and would you please also remain standing for a moment of silence? Okay. Okay. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. That was to commemorate our veterans. Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, we are about to listen to public comment. Although state law does not require us to hold a public comment period, we have chosen to do so in Wappingers because we believe it is crucial for us to hear from our community members about their concerns and issues. The board is here to listen. The public comment period is not designed to be a debate or dialogue. Please do not expect the board to respond to your concerns and questions tonight. We take your concerns and questions seriously and want to have sufficient time to process and research issues if need be. We will have the proper staff member get back to you as appropriate. I also want to point out that under state and federal privacy laws, we are unable to address any comments or questions about specific students or school personnel. We would ask you to go through the appropriate administrative channels. A total of 30 minutes at the beginning of each board meeting is set aside to allow for public comments on agenda items only. Public comment at the beginning of the meeting is limited only to items on the agenda. Persons who wish to participate in the public comment portion of the meeting are asked to provide their name and a specific agenda item about which they wish to speak. Individual comments on agenda items is limited to 3 minutes and are welcomed. If you wish to address items relating to our school district that are not on tonight's agenda, another comment period is provided at the end of the meeting for that purpose. In the interest of civility and respect for different points of view, clapping, booing, or any disturbance or disruption during either public comment period is not permitted. At this time, comments related to agenda items are welcome.
Good evening. My name is Ann Laval. I'd like to address agenda item 4.03, the presentation on specifically next generation standards, including science. I'm wondering, we put together a 20-minute presentation on the rollout and the timing for the new tests. I'm wondering how much time any of the board members in particular spent looking at the actual curriculum itself, determine whether or not it's appropriate for our students, what's contained in it. One of the issues specifically I'm curious about is whether or not we'll be teaching anatomy and physiology, human sexuality, and what will we do when those concepts conflict with our behavior policy code of conduct that says students are required to affirm someone's perceived sexuality and gender. How many genders are we going to be teaching? These standards, from what I've seen, are vague and arbitrary. And as I said, if we're doing authentic science and physical sciences, it seems to me that we have a conflict with the idea of perceived sexual existence. And I'm curious whether or not the board has looked at the actual standards, or if we're just going to roll them out and, we're more concerned with the form over function of implementing a schedule for something that we really have no real grasp of the content. Thank you.
Is there anyone else who wishes to comment on an agenda item? Okay. Seeing none, the next item on the agenda, 4.01, is the superintendent's report.
Thank you very much, Vice President Kellen, members of the Board of Education, and members of the community for being here this evening. At the last board meeting, we had saluted our veterans for all of the sacrifices that they have made on behalf of this great country. And again, I would like to thank them for all of their efforts. I had an opportunity to participate in 2 recognition ceremonies, one at John Jay High School and one at Roy C. Ketchum High School, and we had a number of ceremonies throughout the district to recognize our veterans, and again, I would like to thank them for their service. You received some information last week as part of our ongoing commitment to provide as much in-person instruction for as many students as possible, as often as possible, in a safe environment. And I was very pleased to announce early last week that in collaboration with the Dutchess County Department of Behavioral and Community Health, the district adopted new COVID testing and quarantine protocols. The state had indicated to the counties that they were going to leave the decisions up to the counties. They made some recommendations, but left it with the counties. And fortunately, Dutchess County has been very supportive of supporting in-person instruction for our students. So I'd like to thank and commend them. The specifics of these protocols were sent out last week to our families. This information is also included on the district website, Facebook, and Twitter, and a video was developed to outline the updated protocols. So the district, in collaboration with a county-approved provider, has made the test to stay option available as a convenience to all of our families, as on-site testing for all of our students participating in a mandatory quarantine period due to being in close or proximate contact with an individual who is tested positive to COVID, to come into our district office Monday through Friday every morning between 7 a.m. and 9 a.m. This has been utilized last week and continues to be utilized. We've had much success with it. The community has been very, very proactive and eager to get their students back in school. So we have provided the testing, and in the event that they test negative, which the overwhelming do, they return to school. And they need to do that for a period of time. And then after they have completed the testing, as long as they continue to test negative, they are welcome in our schools and they do not need to quarantine. So I can share with you that prior to this being implemented, we were very concerned with the amount of students that were quarantined. And now, based upon what Dutchess County, the option that they have provided us, we felt it necessary to do this in our school district every day for any of the students who could have been impacted. And again, it's been extremely successful. I'd like to thank Mr. Richard Zipp, our Assistant Superintendent, for all of his work on this. And again, it has really been a fantastic program that we will continue. In addition to that, I would ask you to look at the website and watch the video because there are a number of other strategies that we are utilizing as well. Again, as part of our ongoing commitment to have as much in-person instruction as possible for as many students as possible. And that concludes my report. Thank you, Vice President Kelland.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Bonk. I just wanted to add, since there is not a time for board member comments on tonight's agenda, on behalf of the board, a number of us attended the ceremonies, both at John Jay and at R.C. Ketchum, commemorating and remembering our veterans. And they were very moving. And the PTAs and the Girl Scouts at one school provided refreshments for the veterans, which was very considerate, and it was a very nice occasion. And I know all the board members who were able to attended. Some couldn't because of their work schedules, but everyone made an attempt to come there. Thank you. 4.02, presentation of the wellness plan. Ms. Crandall.
Oh, there it is. Thank you so much. Good evening, everyone. Thank you very much for allowing us the opportunity to present the wellness procedures and standards to the Board of Education. This is a district-wide wellness committee, and we do have some of our committee members out in the audience this evening. So thank you very much for showing your support. But it is a requirement for New York State that the district has a district-wide wellness committee, and every 3 years, we need to prepare and review our procedures and standards for discussion and sharing with the Board of Education. As always, we share our appreciation for the Board of Education and also for the support from the senior staff administration as we move through this process. My assistant, Sharon McDonough, is also very helpful in coordinating these meetings. It is all run through a Google application so that we don't have paper trails going back and forth. I'm sorry, we have we don't have actual paper going back and forth, but we do have documents that are shared and homework that is done by this committee. So I'm very thankful that the committee does provide feedback. We do it through the process of a Google Drive. This is our 21-22 Wellness Committee Charter, or Wellness Committee members. There is a requirement in our charter as to the specific individuals in the district who are included in the Wellness Committee. So we do put out a request, and people do reach out to us, and we fill the committee based on that requirement from New York State. So the original committee charter was approved in July of 2018, and we work in alignment with the New York State guidelines as to striving to support the health and well-being of students by providing a school environment that promotes healthy choices, and it is in alignment with our policy 5404. So in preparing for this presentation, we always review our annual charter to make sure that it meets the needs of the district as well as being in alignment with New York State, as well as reviewing the policy itself, which is 5404. So our charter details the composition of the committee, as I had shared earlier. And also, we have a requirement to review student data. We do that twice a year. We do meet 4 times a year. We review this data twice a year. We review the content of our nutritional offerings. That is done and kept in a big, large book about this big that has all of the nutritional labels. We also reach out to building level our building level wellness groups for their input. We conduct an annual survey, both for the community and for the students. We've seen mixed results and varied levels of participation over the past couple of years with regard to this survey. And also, we maintain a wellness website where we do post information that applies to both the district level as well as building level activities. Policy 5404 includes language that is both in compliance with the USDA and also the New York State regulation, which is inclusive of food shaming. So it's not something that would that we do include in our policy. I cannot even speak today. I'm sorry, very sorry. Food and beverages are allowed and available to students on campus during the day, but they have to be compliant. We also make sure that we have class-based parties, celebrations, and sponsored events include items that are compliant. We focus on physical activity, nutrition promotion, and education, and you've seen that in our annual school lunch fund budget, where Director Flusser, for example, has had Gay Head Chef of the Day. So we've seen pictures of students wearing their chef hats and working in the kitchen to help prepare lunch for their classmates. We also have monitoring and review of both district level and building level activities, and we do have responsibility for record keeping. So how does it look for us in Wappingers? We have compliant food and beverage options served in the cafeterias. This year we do have the SSO waiver, which allows for free breakfast and lunch to all students district-wide. So that is an opportunity that is available to the Wappinger Central School District for the 21-22 school year. We also work with the buildings to schedule their meal times for the operations of the kitchen. Depending on the number of students, those hours for meals could range for a good portion of the day. We have building level wellness work that we really like to promote, as well as activities at those building levels. We have, like I had just mentioned, the nutritional awareness through in-school events and also through local fresh food options, which prior to the pandemic, we were participating. Myers Corners Elementary School was participating in a farm to school project with Dutchess County. And again, as we had indicated, we have that semi-annual review of the nutritional content as well as the student and activity data. So while it's not required by New York State for us to do the surveys that are done for both families and students, we do take that opportunity to gather as much data and feedback as possible. We expanded the surveys last year to include physical activity, both in and out of school, to try to get a better idea of how our students are, how physically active our students are. As indicated here, we have the opportunity to be at the farm project with Myers Corners prior to the pandemic. We also utilized items, produce from the John Jay Garden that was in place, and we look forward to doing that again. And we have the new Future Farmers of America Club, which we also embrace through the Wellness Committee. Feedback from the committee did include that the middle schools are very pleased that intramurals are back and available to students. So the representative from the middle school, Mr. Opitz, was very, very excited to share that information. And we have noticed that the pandemic has changed the dynamic in our kitchens. As I had shared, the survey responses are a little bit different than they had been in previous years. We have that seamless summer option, that SSO waiver for free breakfast and lunch. And also, we did witness increased physical activity and awareness of that through the pandemic. So the district is receiving federal stimulus monies that have a focus on student welfare, and we're using these funds accordingly, planning for the use of these accordingly. We're looking for opportunities for students that fall outside of the main area where the food is served in the cafeterias or what their physical activity is, and looking at the total social and emotional wellness of our students and our staff. We understand that there'll be an expanded playground opportunity at Myers and additional possibilities at Kinry Road as well for pieces of playground equipment to increase physical activity. We also have made adjustments to our HVAC, lighting, and appearance and environments in the classroom to make it more pleasant and more amenable to students and staff. And we also have continued future capital project work with the Capital Improvement Committee that will be focused on social and wellness for our students as well. We do want to say thank you to the community and the Wellness Committee members for being involved and letting us know what you value as we connect with our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Crandall. Do we have any questions from the board? Well, a very thorough presentation. Thank you. I would like to say, as a member of the Wellness Committee, that it's been, I know how hard the people in our food service and physical education departments work to ensure that our students have a healthy as well as an academically successful time in school. Thank you. 4.03, pardon me. 2020-2021 Wappinger Central School District High School Academic Summary and Graduation Outcomes. Dr. Crandall. Oh, Cardwell, I'm sorry. All right. See, I promoted you, Ms. Crandall. Thank you, Dr. Cardwell.
Thank you, and I will also be presenting with Mr. Lokema as well. So welcome, Board of Education, welcome community members to the annual presentation for high school academic and graduation outcomes. A priority for the 2021-2022 school year has been to make sure that our students who are attending our classes in person have the skills and prerequisites and prior knowledge they need to be successful in all of the courses that they are taking this year. Teachers have participated in Superintendent's Conference Day sessions as well as department meetings to work with their colleagues to review curriculum, assessments, and instructional resources to make sure that we're meeting the needs of our students academically. Some of the work that the New York State Education Department has started several years ago has been on making sure that the school districts align their curriculum and their assessment to the next generation learning standards for ELA and math, K-12, to the New York State learning standards, which are also K-12, and the social studies framework, which is also K-12. The rollout is depending upon the grades in which the students are in. So for example, the K through 8 rollout of the new standards will come prior to the rollout at the high school level. So we're going to be discussing the high school assessments in the next few minutes. And you will notice that some of those assessments are coming up within the next year, and others are coming up within the next couple of years. But that is to make sure the K-8 rollout happens prior to the high school rollout. We are currently in the capacity building phase for many of the standards. The next generation learning standards for reading and math and the science standards, those are all in the building capacity stage. For the social studies framework, we are in the phase of implementation.
For the new administration of the U.S. History Regents, that will take place this June. The new U.S. History Regents, based upon the Social Studies framework, was supposed to be released a couple of years ago, but it was postponed due to the pandemic. So the state is anticipating that we will have the new Regents exam this June. Subsequently, you will see some additional Regents exams that are being offered under the new format, beginning with algebra, geometry, and algebra 2, beginning in the year 2024. So we do have some time for that. We also have new science exams coming up also within the next few years, and then the new administration of the English Regents will be in 2026. So right now, we're really focusing on making sure our social studies curriculum is aligned to the social studies framework. If you would like to see the entire timeline of the ELA learning standards, the math learning standards, and/or the science standards, the documents are in the presentation for you to review. We will also go over these documents when we have the K-8 presentation as well. Darren?
Good evening, thank you. So the next couple slides are just going to show what our trends have been for four-year graduation rates. So you can see in June this past year, as well as inclusive of August, I'm sorry, it's a little out of focus, the graduation rate is still relatively high. I mean, we've always enjoyed a good graduation rate all the way since the 2015-16 school year, where there was a change in focus on individualized conversations around students and data and graduation readiness. Undoubtedly, the last 2 years had received a little bit of an extra bump due probably to the test exemptions for the Regents exams. So we are seeing a number of hurdles reduced for the students who are looking to graduate during a time of COVID. Worth noting, this upcoming year, our seniors, for the most part, have already completed or have signed up and received an exemption for Regents exams, and they'll be ready to graduate based on credits and their Regents exemptions as well. So taking a look at the next slide shows Orchard View. Graduation rates inclusive of that as well. You see also relatively high compared to previous years. High school diplomas come in different varieties, different flavors. So the most common one, the base is the Regents diploma. This is John Jay's completers with credentials and diploma types. We have 138 out of 491. Got a basic Regents, which is a high school diploma with the 5 Regents exams, as well as the relative 22 credits of coursework completed. There are Regents with honors, for example. That is if all of your honors classes average 90% or greater when averaged together. A Regents diploma with advanced designation includes students who took additional Regents exams. The typical pathway would be 2 additional math Regents as well as 1 additional science Regents. As well as a 3rd year of study in a foreign language. That's a traditional path. If you're successful in all those areas, you will get a Regents with advanced designation. Combine the 2, advanced designation and honors, and you're talking about a student who did all those assessments, and the assessments all averaged above 90%. The skills and achievement credential is for students with disabilities. It's a skills showcase for our completers who are not on a typical diploma path. RCK credential and diploma types very similar. There's 3 students here who received the Career Development and Occupational Studies Commencement credential. That's an additional credential for students who take a skills pathway, sometimes through the Career and Technical Education program at BOCES, as well as some skills-based, work-based hours that would show up in their credential and on their report that would show additional skills for readiness for workplace. just to give you a sense as to the different kind of diplomas students may exit with from the district. This slide is a little bit busy. Just really kind of highlights, typically what we would do is we would show you trends for Regents exams and over a 5-year period to see, but obviously the last 2 years with all the exemptions being given, this just really shows how many students in each school who took an exam or were exempt from an exam. So in this case, just very simple, Regents Common Core Algebra 1, John Jay High School, 5 students took that Regents exam, 371 received the exemption because they decided, they did not sign up to take the test. Royce Ketchum, 24 took it, 246 got an exemption, etc. There's a higher percentage of students took the Regents exam at the junior high school. They were encouraged to do so. I believe it's good practice for them to attempt those exams. They will be sitting for Regents before they graduate, unlike some of the other high school students who had the COVID exemptions for possibly up to all 5 of their Regents exams. So that's how that slide reads. It's a little cut off on the end. So we gave, a few hundred exams this year, whereas we would normally give more than a few thousand.
While the Regents exams were optional, if you will, this year, many of our students did take the AP exams. We do have a number of students that are enrolled in an AP course, and these are the numbers for both John Jay and RCK included for math and science, as well as ELA and social studies. So we do have a lot of students that do take an AP course, but not all of the students that are registered for an AP course do take an AP exam. So for the AP exams, we did have over 1,000 students. Actually 1,000 AP exams were taken this year. Some of those exams were given in person, and students were given the option to either take them in person or virtually for the spring 2021 administration. This year, for 2022, College Board has stated that the AP exams will be conducted in person, barring any change in status. So right now, we are planning as if all AP exams will be in person. If there is any change, the board and the community will be updated. On an AP exam, you can get a score of a 5, which is the highest, all the way to a score of a 1. For the a little over 1,000 exams that were taken, this is the breakdown of how our students scored on the exams. If you score a 3 or higher, that is generally high enough for a student to earn college credit if they apply for such credit with their college of choice. And we also have some 5-year summaries for both John Jay and Ketchum for the number of AP exams that their students take each year and their scores. Any questions for either Darren or myself on any of the information presented tonight?
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Crandall and Mr. Lokema. Do we have any questions? Mrs. Cahill?
I don't know if, okay, my mic's working. I think if we could just tell parents and families what reference they would use if they wanted to look into the curriculum. Like you said, the presentation's available to us, but I guess if it were something, how would they delve into things? Because it seems like lots of questions have bubbled up, right, of late in the last 6 months related to curriculum. So is there a reference or a way that you could tell folks, families, parents, how they could delve into the curriculum, should they choose?
So the teachers usually provide a syllabus of their curriculum to their students at the junior high school and high school level. So the syllabus that the teachers give to their classrooms should have an outline of exactly what's going to be taught. We also have a curriculum committee that meets a couple of times, at least 4 times each school year, in which the committee reviews the selected curriculum for that particular year. So, and those minutes are taken and they are posted for the curriculums that are reviewed. If anyone also has any questions about the curriculum, generally they call the curriculum and instruction office, and I talk them through the process, or I let them know what resources are available or where they can find them. On some of the websites, the curriculum and instruction website and some of the directors' websites, there are also links to some of the curriculum that they can access, or the scope and sequences that they can access.
Thank you.
Dr. Dr. Cardwell, I believe also that the standards, the New York State standards, are available on the state education website, so that you would be able to get the standards, and then our curriculum is developed in district based on the standards. Is that correct, Dr. Cardwell?
Yes, that is correct. We also have links to the standards on our website as well.
Thank you. I think just in light of, I think it's been evident, there's a lot of questions and things. So when people know, how they can get clarification on things, I think it's helpful. Thank you.
And
Thank you. Are there any other
Vice President-
questions?
Vice President Kellen,
Yes,
the
Mr.
website
Morgan.
that you're referencing is nysed.gov.
Thank you very much. Okay, did anyone else have any questions? Mr. Spencer, did you have your hand up?
I just want to say thank you. Sorry. I just want to say thank you.
I did want to comment that I think it's a good thing that New York State has decided to roll out the new standards, a year at a time, unlike the problem we had with Common Core, where they were given to us K through 12 all at once without any regard to what the students had learned in previous years under different standards. So it's good to see that there's some feedback and it's being acted upon at the state level. Thank you. Okay, anyone else? Oh, yes, Dr. Bonk, please do.
Thank you very much, Vice President Kellen. Dr. Cardwell, I'd like to commend you and Mr. Lokema and all of our staff for all of the work that has been done, especially during an extremely challenging year. Our students are to be commended for the job that they did under those circumstances, and our staff definitely went above and beyond. So it's been a total team effort. Congratulations to all. Very proud. Thank you.
Yes, Dr. Cardwell, I'd like to say that I've heard a lot of compliments in the community for what individual teachers have done under such difficult circumstances last year, trying to teach hybrid and with students now, some of them being quarantined, and you're all to be commended. The curriculum committee, which I also have the pleasure of being on, is always a pleasure to attend because we see the exciting things and innovative things some of our teachers are doing in the district. So thank you both of you, Mr. Lokema also, for following up all that data. Thank you. .01 consent agenda resolution. Does any board member wish to pull something from the consent agenda? Seeing none.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the following consent agenda items as stated. 5.02, 5.03, 5.04, 5.05, 5.06, 5.07, 5.08, 5.09, 5.10, 5.11, 5.12, and 5.13.
Okay, do we have a motion? Ms. Johnson, do we have a second? Mr. McFarland, all those in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous. Okay. 6.01, approval of the new club charter.
Resolved that the Board of Education does hereby approve the new club charter for Ketchum Step Club at RCK Roy C. Ketchum High School as submitted.
Okay, do we have a motion? Ms. Johnson, second. Mr. Spencer, any discussion? Mr. Sloshower.
Just a quick question. I don't know if Dr. Caldwell could answer the question. The application's a little vague. They did mention they'd like to try to perform. I'm just curious as to, is it, a dance group, or what is it exactly?
So the club that is requesting permission to start is a step team. It is a form of dance. They are asking to dance at certain events. Once the club gets established, a determination will be made with the RCK administration and district administration to determine what events would be appropriate for them to perform at. But since the club has not yet started, those details have not yet been decided or discussed.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? Okay, all those in favor? Unanimous. Okay. 6.02, first reading of policies. Just for the everyone's information, the policies listed had very minor changes, basically grammar, to suit the new requirements from the state of how they would like us to word things. The first one, 5140, entrance age, was just clarifying our current entrance age policy. Nothing has changed. Parents still have the option when they first bring their children to school, if they are age eligible for first grade but feel that they have not had a kindergarten program and therefore want to start them in kindergarten, they do still have that option, which we have had for many years. And this was just to clarify that, because some children are more ready than others at a chronological age. Okay, and the parents are the ones most likely to know. It's silent reading, so we vote on it next time. If you have any questions about any of them, please contact me. I'm chair of the policy committee. 7.01, board members may request additional agenda items, discussion items, or requests for information. Does anyone have a request for an addition to the agenda? Mr. Odoms.
Yes, I motion to amend the agenda to add 2 agenda items regarding appeals.
Okay. Do we have a second? Ms. Johnson, did you? Oh, Mr. Spencer, yes. All right, all those in favor of adding the agenda items? Okay, unanimous. Mr. Odoms?
Yes, be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the finding of fact and penalty recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools dated October 29th, 2021, which endorsed the findings of the hearing officer G. Thomas Stella dated October 27th, 2021 regarding student number 1011224, and be it further resolved that the board president is hereby authorized to sign the board determination letter on behalf of the Board of Education, and be it further resolved that the district clerk is hereby authorized to mail the board determination letter to students' parents.
Okay, do we have a second? Ms. Johnson, all those in favor? Unanimous? Yes, Mr. Sloshower.
A no vote on that.
Okay. Oh, there was one no. I'm sorry. Okay. All right. That was no for Mr. Sloshower. Yes for everyone else. Okay, Mr. Odoms.
Be it resolved that the Board of Education hereby adopts the finding of fact and penalty recommendation of Superintendent of Schools dated November 9th, 2021, which endorsed the findings of the hearing officer G. Thomas Stella dated November 8th, 2021 regarding student number 1002765, and be it further resolved that the Board of President is hereby authorized to sign the board determination letter on behalf of the Board of Education, and be it further resolved that the district clerk is hereby authorized to mail the board determination letter to the students' parents.
Okay. Second, Mr. McFarland. All those in favor? Mr. Morgan, Ms. Johnson, Mr. Odoms, Mr. Spencer, Mr. McFarland, Mr. Slosauer, Mrs. Kelland, opposed? Ms. Cahill. Okay. Okay. Comments from the public. Comments
Pardon me,
related.
Ms. Kelland.
Excuse me?
Pardon me, Ms. Kelland.
Yes.
Just seeking additional information. Was it intentional that the board comments were left off of the agenda? And I'm sorry to be asking you this now, but I didn't notice that.
Yes, I don't know either, but Mr. Lumia was, unfortunately, he was sick tonight and he couldn't come. So it was not listed, that's why. But if you would like to make a comment, you're welcome to.
Yeah.
If I could, the marvels of medicine are such that I think many of us know people that have had knee replacement or hip replacement. People have prosthetic limbs. Medical science has done a lot of things, but one thing that medical science has not done is come up with a way to replace human blood. Blood needs to be donated in order for a patient to receive a transfusion. And I just wanted to point out and commend the staffs that there are 2 upcoming blood drives, one on November 18th. From 1 o'clock to 6:45. That's at Oak Grove. That is their 14th annual Little Doctors Blood Drive. And right here at Wappingers Junior High School on November 22nd. And Principal Thompson has elicited a commitment from me to be here and donate on the 22nd from 2:30 to 7 o'clock. This is actually the second Little Doctors Blood Drive that Wappingers Junior High School has had already this academic year, and I wanted the public to be aware of that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Morgan. Was there anyone else who had something, Mrs. Johnson?
Yeah, I just wanted to update the community regarding the Indian mascot situation that President Lumia asked me to look into. I am in the process of working with Stockbridge, Muncie, to try and get them a date to be able to do a presentation, and also working with the local Native Americans here so that they also have an opportunity to present their side of the argument as well. It's been more of a telephone tag situation, but I did want the public to know that we did not forget it. It's just been a matter of trying to coordinate schedules and actually getting to speak to each other on the phone. So that is just a quick update to let you all know.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Johnson, for all your efforts in this area. Okay, so was there anyone else who had something to add? All right. Then 8.01, comments from the public. At this time, comments are welcomed related to school district matters. Speakers are again limited to 3 minutes each. Is there anyone who wishes to speak at this time?
Good evening. My name is Pat Whaling. I'm here because of my 2 grandchildren that go to this school. On September 2nd, we got a letter from the Department of Health that was bringing the schools back, and they were talking about the appropriate use of face masks for the children. But at the bottom of the letter, it says the department recognizes that school buildings may be used for community-based activities where students are not present. The guidance, and herein, this doesn't apply in this situation. I don't think there's any kids here, so why do I have to wear the mask? Okay, at the last meeting, John Lumina ran out of the building telling me that you are not receiving money from the federal government. Well, on March 17th, through the American Rescue Plan, excuse me?
Sorry. Excuse me, we're not allowed to make comments referring to people by name, so if
Okay.
you,
The
okay,
president
that's
of-
right.
I hope you
That,
told me that.
yes, that's okay, right, yes.
Okay. The president ran after me, telling me that you didn't receive federal money. On March 17th, through the American Rescue Plan, the federal government will send more than $2.5 billion to school districts in New York. Wappinger School is getting $6,915,000. Okay, you say you're not teaching critical race? I don't believe that. There's phrases using as inclusive and equity, diversity, unpack privileges. Here's a statement from, we all know, Dr. Ben Carson, a renowned neurosurgeon. If our children were taught the true history, they would recognize that this is a time to celebrate who we are, and particularly in the Black community. When I was a kid growing up, it was a big deal when some Black person came on television in a non-servant role. And now you have Black admirals, generals, CEOs of Fortune 500 companies, and presidents of universities, even Ivy League schools. And he says, give me a break. Now, one of the main things I'm here for is the teaching gender identity. Do you have the following books in your school? Woke Baby, a board book that calls children revolutionaries and encourages them to pursue racial justice. Gender Queer, a book written for teens and found in many high schools that pushes radical gender dogma and contains graphic illustrations of sexual acts. Not my idea, a book written for elementary school children that promotes divisive racial themes and calls whiteness a deal with the devil. Most kindergartens don't know how to read, tie their shoes, or recite their home address. But instead of teaching academic basics, schools are now actively promoting identity confusion, emotional harm, and security, negative impacts that last a lifetime. It's no wonder that children and adolescent mental health issues are on a steep rise when students are taught to question their own identity and select from their ever-growing list of confusion options. Meanwhile, parents are widely uninformed about what is occurring in the classrooms related to this material. And another thing, you don't want an open dialogue. I go to many board meetings. Hyde Park has an open dialogue. When we talk, they answer. Maybe you would consider that. And you know what? God's word says, better a millstone put around your neck and you thrown in the sea than to cause any of these children harm. These are not my words. These are the words of God. These are not your children. They're not the government's children. These are God's children. And you know what? You may not be held accountable in this life, but you will in the next. Sleep on that tonight.
Is there anyone else who wishes to speak?
Just, you need my name?
Yes, please, if you just tell us your name and the issue that you wish to speak about. Thank you.
My name is Jim Haw, and I have a question or about the curriculum. You know, I've gone to New York State site, and, you know, you look at the curriculum, there's like hundreds and hundreds of pages, you know, multiple documents, very broad cut stroke kind of things. I've gone to the curriculum website on the, you know, for the district. And again, it's like a 50, 60, 70 page.
Could you speak a little louder or a little closer to the microphone? Not everyone could hear you.
All right. The basics is that on the topic of curriculum, the New York State site has hundreds of pages of documents just for the history curriculum, and it's very kind of broad, covers a lot of topics, which is fine. The Wappinger website has also a document out there that has the strategic plan that has, you know, like 70 pages. My question is there anything that kind of gives us that we can see almost in a straightforward way that kind of tells us how these guidelines and these structures are being implemented here? And the other question that I would have is the workshops and that the teachers go through in order to develop a curriculum, those type of things. Is there any public document that tells us what's being presented in those workshops? What kind of information that the teachers are being given to be guided? So, I mean, I would be interested to know what books, what presentations, what things the teachers are going through in order to develop the curriculums that are actually being implemented in the classroom. That's it.
I could just comment, sir, if you want to leave your information with District Clerk Pedro, we'll get that information out to you.
Perfect. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who would like to speak at this time? Okay. Seeing no one, could we have a motion to adjourn? Mrs. Johnson, second. Mr. McFarland, all in favor? Unanimous. Thank you.